Malachi. Today we're going to tie a Thunder Thighs hopper. This is a very popular extended body hopper in Idaho. They use it a lot, so I thought it would be a good fly for you to tie today. We're going to start with a 52-82 size 8 for this fly. You can tie this in size 8 down to 12, but I think starting off you're going to want to start with a size 8. The first thing actually that we're going to do is tie a leg. Legs kind of look like this, and we need to tie one. So what we do is we take our single threaded foam like this, and we just cut on an angle. And then the second one, you just cut straight across, and that way you have your angled leg. Then what we're going to do is we're going to actually put it in your hemostats, and we're going to balance it. If we can balance it up here, then what we're going to do is take a piece of barred sexy floss. We're going to tie a knot in it, but don't tie it tight. All we're going to do is we're going to put this real loosely through this knot like this, and oops, just through there. And then we're going to put it right over that opening, and we're going to tie it tight. Now, if you notice, one leg goes out, one leg comes up. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some trimming. We're going to cut this end off right here, and then we're going to cut this top one off. And that's going to be our second leg. We're going to put that to the side for now. We don't need that right away. We're going to put the hook in the vise. We're going to, in this case today, we're going to tie on some brown thread. You want to do whatever thread is on the bottom of the fly, and I'll show you that in a minute. You're going to want to take this thread all the way back to the bend of the hook. So we're going to continue this all the way back here. I'm going to cut it off all the way to the back of the hook. Now we're going to take some of this foam that's like this. It's two-sided. I made you a bunch of it. Basically what you do is you take two pieces of foam and you get your dad to go get you some Gorilla Glue, spray Gorilla Glue. You spray it, put them together, put a book on it overnight, and then in the morning you have two colors. We're going to do today the tan side down. Now we're going to make this extended body, so about 1/2 to 3/4 of a hook shank are going to go out here. But before we tie it in, I want to take a little bit of Zap-A-Gap, and I'm going to just put it right on here. That's all we need. You don't want to get a lot of it and get it in your vise. You just want to get a little bit on there. Measure about 1/3 of a hook shank, and we're going to tie it in right there. Just want to make a loose turn and then tighten, a loose turn and tighten. A third one. Now not too tight because you can actually cut through foam. Then we're going to do a couple turns underneath and back over. This time I'm going to go forward a little bit, and I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to bring it underneath, and then I'm going to come up over it again. This time I'm going to go a little tighter, and then I'm going to do the same move. Now I'm going to move it forward again towards the back. I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to go keep that thread right on top of each other so that it looks like a segment. Now, once you have your thread out here, switch hands, you're going to want to come back. You want to go back right where you made that segment, and then come underneath it, right, keeping that thread right on top of the other one, and come back right to here. Now that gets you back to the body of this, and I'm going to take one underneath, actually a couple. You want to move forward a little bit. You want to create another segment. And what I'm doing is I'm making all these segments about the same. So a couple wraps. I'm going to go forward a little bit more, and I'm going to make another segment. And then I'm going to go a little bit further forward. I'm going to make another segment. Just a little segment this time, because this one's going to get totally filled in. And I'm going to actually wrap, not on each wrap, but around it, so that I can actually make this a little bit flatter. And that, because we're going to tie in a lot of material right here. All right, so now we've got the body, an extended body. All right, the first thing we need to tie in is going to be the wing. And the wing is going to be of something called McFly-on. It can either be white or it could be gray. I sent you a bunch of gray. So you're just going to take this and just going to set it right in that gap that you just made, and a couple turns just to tie it in. Now this is going to fold over, so don't worry about it. It just needs to be longer than the end of the body there. Then you're going to take some red foam, and you need to cut a point in it. The way you cut a point is you just go, I'm going to use this other side. You go all the way across, and then you turn your foam, and you start at the same spot and go again, and then you get a nice point in the middle. You can make this as long as you want or as short as you want. I'm going to make it kind of to the second segment back, and you're just going to tie it in. A couple wraps. That's going to help you see the fly when it's being fished. And you want to cut this off really close down. After you cut it off, you want to take a couple good wraps around it, and a couple good wraps back on it, because you need to kind of keep that segment open. All right, the very next thing we're going to do is the head. And what I do is I squeeze this a little bit, make it kind of so you're going to be able to move it. And you're going to take some black foam. And the first thing you want to do is just kind of bend this. It's going to be past the eye of the hook, so don't worry about that. You're going to just kind of bend it like this, so just kind of get it started and pinch right where you're going to tie it in, all of that kind of stuff. Then we're going to take this black foam and we're going to put it right up in that bend. And we're going to keep it right up there. And we're going to bend this right over and down. We're going to squeeze it there, and we're going to just tie it in. We're not going to worry about it right now. What that's going to do is actually it's going to create the eyes, which is pretty cool. I don't know who thought of that, but whoever did was a genius. And then we're just kind of doing some wraps there. Now what we're going to do is we're not going to pull this, we're just going to cut it flush with the foam, and that creates your eye. Now we can cut all of this big foam off really close. Once you do, you're going to want to cover those wraps up. So you just want to kind of, or cover that foam up with some wraps. Okay. At this point, I like to just cut the wing because we don't really need to have all that material out there. So I'm cutting it just barely past the end of the fly. All right, now come those big legs. What you're going to do is you're going to hold them in here, right here, and you want them to extend just short of the back of the fly, and you're going to want to tie it in. Get a couple wraps on it, And you can actually come in and cut that out. Okay? You're going to want to do the same thing to the other side. This is hard to show you this way, but you're going to want to make them even. So if you cut them long, cut them the same length. And then you want to cut that flush also. And then a few good wraps around all of that just to kind of get it tied in. You'll see why in a few minutes. Alright, now comes some more of these sexy legs. You're going to want a piece on each side. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tie it in right on this point, and then we're going to tie it in over here. So it's pretty simple tie-in. We're going to tie it in one and just let it hang and just kind of get it aligned. Don't worry about how long everything is, and come all the way up to the head and go in. See, now we've got a gap there, which is perfect, and we can play with this a little bit and get it the way we want it. Okay, so those two are in. We need to get some on this other side that you can't see. So let me put them in the same exact way. I'm going to tie it in right at the side, and then one all the way over there. So now we have that tied in like that. What we need to do now we're almost done with this fly. What we need to do is cover the middle. So we're going to take some brown dubbing. It doesn't matter what kind of brown dubbing you have. Doesn't matter. We're just going to get some dubbing in here to cover this up. And then put on our dubbing. And then we're going to just wrap it in here. Cover everything up. Then we're going to pull this back and we're going to finish this fly underneath it. So a couple wraps underneath, and then we're going to whip finish by pulling this eye up and then whip finish right underneath it like that. And now you have tied a thunder thighs. You can wiggle it around a little bit. And that is a thunder thighs extended body hopper, fished in Idaho.